Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the TMI show, the Ted Manila information show. There's the Ted of the show, Ted Rall. I'm Manila Chan. It is Monday, said nobody ever. Monday, December 22nd. Going to be a short week for us on the TMI show. We're doing just Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday shows. No Thursday and Friday because it's Christmas and Boxing Day. I guess that's a big thing in the UK, Ted. Boxing Day.
It is.
But do people actually take it off? Like in the UK? Are they?
I'm not your UK expert. I don't know. I haven't been since 1989. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
But Boxing Day is. I mean, that's not true. I did change planes, but that's not really. I don't feel like that counts. Right. Changing planes does not count.
No, it has to be like out.
If you don't leave the airport, yeah, you didn't visit. So it's yeah. Well, I mean, I think Boxing Day. I don't know if it's a holiday. Is it a holiday? I guess it is.
I feel like it is for the Brits, but not for us. But I think
not for us.
No, not for us. I think a lot of people just
when
take
I was a
Friday
kid,
off
we did
anyway
white sales
Christmas.
the day after Christmas. Is that still a thing?
Oh, I remember those.
I
remember
like
JC
for
Penney
sheets and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, JC Penney and stuff used to do. I don't know. Sears, all those. I
feel like that doesn't happen anymore.
Bigger stores.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I feel like they use it as another, like the day after Christmas is just the day after Christmas sale, and they do like another Black Friday type thing.
And in France, they do what they call the soldes, which are the sales.
Adrian, who's British, our friend Adrian, says, yes, it is a public holiday in the UK.
All right, good for them.
Day after Christmas.
Which, by the way, makes sense. I mean, like in France, they do it as a rule. Like let's say a holiday falls on a Thursday, like it does this year.
Yeah.
They make the link to the weekend. So if then automatically the next day between the weekend and the holiday is a day off. If the holiday falls on a Wednesday, you get the Thursday and the Friday.
Wow. So if it's midweek, it's like doing away with the penny. If it's like 3, you round up to 5. It's below 3, you round up to the 0.
It's exactly
round
like
down,
that.
I should say.
Totally.
Or you could be like how the Russians are linking a bridge into the weekend, right? You said the French bridge into the weekend.
Yep.
This is like the Russians land bridging to Crimea.
Yeah. Yes, that would be exactly correct.
That's the exact perfect analogy for today, because that's going to be one of the subjects we're talking about.
I would be so remiss if I don't. Are these new glasses that you're wearing?
Yes, I bought a couple.
Wow. Ooh, a couple.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I only have like one. I only ever buy. I fly close to the sun. I only buy like one pair of glasses at a time. And I'm like thinking, so if I broke them, where would I be?
What would you do?
Yeah, it's really stupid. Not to mention they're an accessory. You know, like you wouldn't just wear one. Like if you wore necklaces, you wouldn't just wear one necklace. I mean, it's just like but I don't
have just one hoodie.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have one T-shirt. I don't just have one Henley. I don't know, whatever.
Or like one watch, right? Or one pair of shoes.
I have many watches. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like for me, glasses are a thing. I had to start wearing them. I don't know, 7.5 years ago, thereabouts. I decided, why not? They shouldn't be a curse. They can be a fun accessory and change.
Oh, 100%.
I can change them with my outfit.
They might be arguably the most important accessory you can wear. I mean, it's right there in the middle of your face,
Yeah. I think a fun pair of glasses is like some women like to wear expensive purses, with their outfits or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's never been my thing because I just kind of beat up for the same reason I don't care about cars and stuff, because I just don't care. They get beat up.
That's right. Like
with a car,
like people they throw their door open into your car when they or like you're driving behind like a gravel truck and then it dings your paint, and you're just like, it's outside, it's a car, it's gonna get banged up, it's just inevitable.
It's just not my thing. Purses are the same way. Like, you're gonna set it down. Sometimes you go to the ladies' restroom and these jerks that design the ladies' restrooms don't have like proper hooks or a place to put your handbag. So it goes on the floor with all the pee and the poop, and then you bring it home and no, I don't care. So I just use the same, but for me, the glasses are the thing I have to change. So,
Well, I like that pair. I just want to, if my vote counts for anything, I like it.
Thank you for noticing. Anyway, we do this, as you can see, TMI show. It's short for too much information that we do bring you. And sometimes it's stuff like this where, you just talk about with your friends too. We do it live Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern time. So please be sure to hit the like, the follow, and the subscribe button so you can help our little show continue to grow. And it is indeed growing. We appreciate you all being here and the people that come through after deprogram. We appreciate you being here, of course. So with that, Ted,
one little thing, DMZ America podcast with Scott Stantis and I, previewing the year ahead at 11 a.m. Eastern time at the end of the show.
Oh, because Scott was sick last week.
He was. He had the flu that everybody's getting.
Everybody,
the variant K, not to be confused with special K or ketamine. It's like, yeah. So yeah,
it'd be just as bad.
I think he was part of the first wave, but like the CDC says this week and next week are going to be worse.
Yeah, and the vaccine, the vaccine that they gave out this year for this year's flu is effective towards 40% of whatever the other variants are out there.
Yeah, I stopped doing the extremely safe and effective and awesome vaccine for the flu. I stopped doing it because they usually guess wrong.
Guess.
Yeah, they usually guess wrong. And I get sick after I know they say that's not supposed to happen, but I get sick. And I was just
a lot of people get really sick.
My doctor, by the way, syringe raped me one year, like about 10 years ago. I was like, no, thank you. I would not like to take the flu vaccine for the reasons I just enumerated. I swear to God, she chased me out of the clinic into the parking lot, grabbed my arm, and shot me.
No.
I swear.
How is that even legal?
She was an aggressive Polish lady. I'm telling you. Yeah.
How is that even legal?
She was crazy though. She also had this was out in the Hamptons where there's a lot of artists, and I had an artist friend who's like, yeah, that painting behind her desk, behind the front desk in her office. I'm like, yeah. She goes, he's like, that's my painting. And I'm like,
okay.
So it was like, oh, well, I lent it to her, like as a, sort of like you can have it like as you show display. It. If someone wants to buy it, they can buy it. It's like on consignment. Right. And she was like, yeah, I'm not giving it back to you. Like $2,000-$3,000 painting, supposedly. I was like, man, and she's a syringe rapist.
Yeah,
I got the flu that year anyway, by the way, even after that.
I've had some, fun immigrant doctors like that are just kind of wild.
She's wild and crazy. I kind of liked her moxie,
Yeah, I've gotten, none of my doctors have done quite that, but the weird.
She also inspected me for prostate, and let's just say that it was an upsetting experience.
Oh, people are talking about UK. Nerd says the UK has a new Boxing Day tradition. It's wrapping Jake Paul's jaw up. Wah, wah, wah.
Who's Jake Paul?
Jake Paul is a YouTuber turned like amateur professional-ish boxer. And I put this in quotes. And he recently had a fight with a British Olympic gold medalist boxer, a real boxer. Mm-hmm. And the British Olympic gold medalist laid his ass out and broke his jaw in 3 places. Ooh. His teeth caved in on one side.
Oh.
Yeah. Jake Paul recently boxed Mike Tyson, but we all know these are not like real. I think this time he got done in. Let's just say, this jaw just. And then another Brit this weekend had a big fight here on Rumble. Andrew Tate, who lost that one. Who lost that fight. But Ted, it's a 40-year-old man versus a 29-year-old up-and-coming, amateur boxer. Andrew Tate's a 40-year-old multi world champion belt holder for kickboxing, not regular boxing.
Yeah, it's not the same thing. There's sort of a vibe that like if you can do one martial art, you can do another.
Right.
But that's not true.
Well, Andrew Tate's also a 40-year-old man versus Chase DePaul or Demore, who is 29 years old.
Well, I'd say if you survive Like, it's like if I went into the ring with any of these and Andrew Tate, and if I survive, I'm like, there's still a pulse.
Yes. It's like, still a win.
To be like, yeah, Ted beat the spread, right? No question.
And these guys are like, Tate and Damore are like 6'4", 6'5", 220-pound beasts, right? Like both of them, like 40 or 29. These are big, giant, beastly men, right? That's beating up on each other.
Untrue. Yeah.
So, yeah, that was an interesting. It was an interesting weekend for British people and fighting boxing.
Well, we do have only 46 minutes left in the program.
All right, we'll get through this very quickly. All right, let's move on. All right, the first topic, very serious. We should also point out that because we're on this topic will be about Russia, that this morning the Yukis, I think, deployed like a suicide drone to blow up a Russian general.
Oh, is that it? I thought it was a car bomb.
Car bomb. Sorry, you're right. Yes, you're right.
The usual way.
You're right.
The good news is you've been good news. Good news. You have been promoted to general. Bad news is you have been promoted to general, and Ukrainians are up ass.
Well, not only that, but the Yukis, as you like to call them, Ted, they like the car.
It's a good term.
It's a good. They like to blow up even innocent young women, like philosophers' daughters.
Well, that's just to keep things spicy.
So not always just generals. Not all just if you're Russian and your car blows up, you know what.
Yeah.
We just did that story on Porsche.
Cherchez la femme, cherchez le Yuki. Yeah.
The Yukis, yes. So, if your car doesn't work, especially if it's a Porsche, things haven't been working, Ted.
There's all those cars now that it's not just for mafiosos anymore, where you can start your car remotely. I used to always think, why would you want that? It's sort of like the first time I came across a remote control that allowed you to open the DVD player from across the room. And I'm like, but why would you want to do that? Because you need to go over there to. Now I understand. Like, in case your DVD player has been accessed by the Yukis, you might want to start it from across the room. And in case
like blowing things up.
Yeah, they do. I mean, and nowadays, honestly, if I was Putin, I would be rip shit pissed. I would be like, what the fuck is the FSB doing? We've got these fuckers like all over, blowing up our generals. This is not cool. Once is like, okay, that can happen, but 3 times?
Yeah, this is so the SVR. Remember, FSB doesn't exist.
Oh, right.
anymore.
FSB is for foreign stuff, right?
Yeah. So today's story, though, focuses more on the Kremlin agreeing with the Trump administration, believe it or not. So the Kremlin has echoed U.S. intelligence chief Tulsi Gabbard's dismissal of a Reuters report in which the news agency cited anonymous sources as claiming that Russia could invade NATO states at any moment. Ted.
That's not going to happen.
I know. Spokesman Dmitry Peskov said on Monday.
The Russians don't want to, and they couldn't even if they wanted to. So it's kind of like, what?
I know. But this is the news that Reuters is reporting, citing, anonymous sources. But Dmitry Peskov said today that the claims made by this British news agency, which they published last week, or just heading into the weekend, which were attributed to a U.S. intelligence report, were false. So Reuters is British. They are reporting that they got their hands on an American intel report that says Russia is going to invade NATO states. Please. Now you have Tulsi Gabbard coming out.
Guys, give it up.
Just stop.
So you're the embarrassing yourselves.
DNI Gabbard dismissed the reporting yesterday officially. So that's the official. So you have the DNI of the United States officially dismissing the Reuters report. Reuters claimed that Russian President Vladimir Putin remained committed to, quote, capturing all of Ukraine and reclaiming parts of Europe that belonged to the former Soviet Empire, citing those anonymous sources familiar with the purported U.S. analysis. Peskov said the allegation did not correspond to reality, regardless of whether it reflected an actual U.S. document or not. Quote, intelligence services can make erroneous assessments, research, and conclusions, he remarked. Gabbard has accused Reuters of publishing lies and propaganda. Those are her words, so that's pretty strong. And that it was willingly pushing on behalf of warmongers to undermine U.S. President Donald Trump's efforts to end the conflict in Ukraine. The Russian Foreign Intelligence Service, SVR, has previously claimed that prolonging the Ukraine conflict is a priority for the UK, and that British services could spread false reports.
Keir Starmer, and it's also a priority for the French under Macron. I mean, obviously, you don't need the SVR to tell you that.
Yeah, okay, Putin just sidebar here. Putin has publicly said anyone seeking to recreate the Soviet Union, quote, has no head. Putin has actually said that.
Yeah,
while
numerous times, by the way.
But at the same time, he's also said the collapse of the USSR was, quote, the greatest geopolitical disaster of the 20th century.
He was right.
Due to the human cost.
He was right. And it's also, it really fucked up the United States, Manila. Once the Soviet Union went out of business, you had assholes like the neocons, like Francis Fukuyama, putting out books like The End of History. And that basically set the stage for like the endless wars, the war on terror, 9/11, all that stuff, where basically America became arrogant. Like until 1991, we were kind of like, we had a major competitor in the form of the Soviet Union that was showing us a completely different economic and social and political way of life that was being embraced not just by the Soviet Union, but by all the countries that were influenced by the Soviet Union in the communist world. It's like once they went under, we were like, look, we won. Capitalism is ascendant now and forever. And we don't have to try harder. Right. And if you noticed after that, no more anti-poverty programs, no more efforts to smooth the rough edges of capitalism to make the system more palatable to more people. We stopped trying. We just became big, arrogant assholes. It's sort of like when two guys are competing for a hot girl, and like one of the guys like dies. So the other guy, if he's the only game in town, he can be gross and flabby and like act like a pig and wear his baseball cap indoors and all that stuff, and just
because there's no other boys for her to date.
Yeah, she's fucked. She's stuck with him. The U.S. became the gross dumb guy. Yeah.
She could go lesbian. The United States could go a different way.
That just means no sex at all then.
So, yeah, well, this whole report, I mean, you have the US DNI officially pushing back on Reuters. Tulsi Gabbard is basically saying, this is bullshit what you're reporting. There is no such report. That's basically what she's saying. Like,
yeah, you be making shit up.
So what the freak are they claiming that they got access to? Like what? This has to be a British MI6 thing.
Or it could be Frog. It could be the Froggies, right? It could be, because they're way up. They're all, it's basically the Brits, the Krauts, and the Frogs. They all want this war to keep going forever and ever.
But why?
I think it's
what's the benefit to them? Well,
don't forget, they're all arms dealers, right? So there's military industrial complex shit. I think basically they also it's a great thing for distraction. They have a lot of a lot of domestic discontent due to their economic situation, high unemployment, high underemployment, and so like I think they're just trying to
keep your people wrapped in fear.
That's it.
Putin's coming. Yeah. Putin's coming. You better build a bunker.
Now, personally, I think
you can afford it.
I think it's retarded, and it's a total something that those countries can't afford. But that seems to be where they're at.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. If you keep people wrapped in fear, you can kind of, like, for example, if we look at 9/11 and the constant orange alert. Remember, W was always saying we're at orange threat level. Every day,
Pete Buttigieg is coming.
Every day we had a different color alert. So for years and years and years. And then meanwhile, you had all these big banks like like Goldman and like Chase Manhattan, all these huge banks and hedge funds. Meanwhile, we're doing all these shady things with mortgages, right? And building that bubble that we saw burst in 2008, right?
True.
Because we were all busy going, oh my God, what's our threat level today? Do we have the threat color? Do we know what color? Oh my God, like the Arabs are coming.
Yeah, always.
We were so busy worried about that we didn't even notice that Wall Street was running roughshod over our economy and stealing our houses, our loans out from under us. True. And that's how that happened. So somebody somewhere is doing that. I would assume, I think in Europe. I don't know who the big banks are in Europe. Like, that's not my area of expertise, but that's what happened for us in the US. So maybe that's what's happening in Europe.
It's all,
I don't know.
It is very similar. I mean, it's funny because like we don't, our news is so America centric that we never know what's going on. And it took me forever. This is more about history than news, but today's news is tomorrow's history. But like the Great Depression, right? I mean, we always talk about like the effect it had here in America, but it triggered a global depression, and it affected all of Europe and so on, and even in Asia they were affected by it. So when America sneezes, the world catches a cold.
That's right.
And so yeah, for sure.
And they don't have a crazy Polish doctor chasing them around with the needle?
No, not at all.
All right. Robbie says we have to get to an ad before we move on to the next topic. So we better hit on that before you're going live. You said, yeah, you're live with Scott
Aurelius.
Look, I just got to say, Ted, I do the Dr. Peter McCullough, like evade the virus techniques. Like
which is what? Like jump, like for example, run around really quickly?
You gargle with warm water with iodine. And it works. And
like liquid iodine?
Yeah. Like, because iodine is used, they rub you up with iodine.
Or is it not? I don't
know.
Know.
It's an antimicrobial. That's why they rub you up with it when they do surgery. It kills everything.
Can you have it in your mouth?
You're not supposed to eat it. Yeah. Peter McCullough is an MD. And he was like one of the doctors at the forefront of COVID.
Polish doctor.
Well, but he's at the front of the whole COVID thing, saying like, this is what you should actually do. And I did all that, and I managed to, when I started getting a little tingle in my throat, I did an iodine gargle for like 2 or 3 times a day for the next day or two. I see it, Robbie. And sure enough, I didn't end up catching my son's flu. All right. So here's the first ad of the day. Still haven't tried 1775 coffee? Now's your shot. The 1775 starter kit just dropped, only 1,000 units. You're getting the bold dark roast that hits hard, the smooth medium roast, and the Vitality mushroom coffee for clean energy and laser focus without the crash. All single origin, small batch, toxin-free, and mold-free. Because who wants to drink moldy coffee? Plus, you're also getting...
Not that many people.
Can't imagine moldy coffee is popular.
Some people
I'll take the moldy
though.
coffee,
they
sir.
Like weird shit.
Well, this is not that. Not for the mold coffee enthusiast. You get a gold spoon clip here with 1775 because freedom ain't scooped with plastic, and a frother strong enough to stir up your coffee and your mother-in-law's opinions, and a black 1775 tumbler, $170 worth of coffee and gear, all yours for just $99. This is for the ones who have been watching 1775 blow up here on Rumble, wondering if it's actually worth it. And it is. Producer Robbie is a drinker of the dark roast. Go to 1775coffee.com/studio. Grab your starter kit before they're gone. Bold beans, clean fuel, and a morning routine that stands for something just like Rumble does.
Although I recommend that you should not use, you should drink filtered coffee, as I was reading this morning in a report that if you're a coffee aficionado, there is now a correlation between, but I'm sorry, there's not a causation, but there's a correlation proved between cancer and unfiltered coffee. But filtered coffee is in other words, like don't use a French press.
What?
Don't use that. Like you should
the
use,
French press.
an automatic drip maker or,
Why?
something like that because of the filtration.
Really?
The filter filters out the cancer.
I need to look into.
I'll send you the
love
link.
the French press. I don't have the time to do it very often with my French press, but I usually use the drip. But
use the drip.
Really?
The drip is the way. Yeah. Why take a chance?
Yeah, but then there's the throwaway filters, and then there's the reusable. I use the reusable filters because I'm green that way. But
yeah, so do I.
Like the metal filter.
It just feels better. You do have to rinse it off, but yeah.
Yeah, of course. Well, every day, yeah. But really, I need to. Yeah, I got to see that report. That's strange.
I will send you the
French
link.
have been doing French press coffee for 1,000 years. I'm gonna say I don't actually know if it's 1,000.
No, I mean I don't know. As a Frenchman, I have to say filtered coffee is more common than the French, just because it's called the French press. It's sort of like not like you don't run into French fries everywhere you go in France. It's like that,
No, but the French press, I feel like when you let it just simmer in that hot water for 5 minutes and then you bear down
you get
on
a
it.
nice strong cup of coffee that way.
Yeah, that's how I like it.
I was disappointed. I own a French press. I'm not an anti-French press person, but it's like, when this information comes out, I feel like obligated to report it to all of, because I know without even asking that if you work as a journalist, you drink coffee. So by law. So,
That's true. It's required before you can get any credentials. They're like, how much coffee do you have a day?
Yeah, like if you're like, oh, I drink tea, people are like,
no.
This is you're not going to make it. Yeah.
This is a coffee business. All right, I'm going to hit the jaws. Let's go to the next one.
Senator Ted Cruz is quietly signaling that he might not be done chasing the United States presidency. And this time he's picking a very different fight inside the GOP. In a private meeting in November near Union Station in D.C., Cruz told longtime ally Morton Klein that anti-Semitism and anti-Israel sentiment were rising on the right and that the GOP needs to confront it head on. Cruz, who has since delivered a series of speeches about this subject, also acknowledged that people have been urging him to consider running in 2028. And by people, we mean himself. According to Klein, Cruz appeared to be seriously weighing it, with Trump unlikely to be on the ballot in 2028. Unlikely. I should hope not. Consider it's what's the word? Unconstitutional. Cruz is positioning himself as a loud advocate for traditional Republican foreign policy, hawkish, pro-Israel, and unapologetically interventionist, while targeting Tucker Carlson, whom he accuses of injecting poisonous anti-Semitism, as opposed to the toxin-free anti-Semitism we all prefer through your filter, into the conservative movement. Carlson says, fuck off. I don't know what you're talking about. But the feud has become one of the GOP's most visible internal battles. Meanwhile, Cruz is clashing with JD Vance, widely seen as the early frontrunner for obvious reasons. Vance, a Carlson ally, represents the populist America First wing of the party and has questioned U.S. intervention abroad. Cruz has warned donors that Vance's views are dangerously isolationist, a sign that, by the way, that's an oxymoron. Isolationism has never been dangerous to the U.S. It's been interventionism that's been dangerous, just saying.
Yeah.
A sign that a proxy war over the party's future is already underway. The irony is hard to miss. Cruz entered the Senate in 2013 as a Tea Party insurgent, rallying against the establishment GOP. Now he's defending old school orthodoxy within the Republican Party as a new generation of conservatives tries to go in a new direction. That evolution makes another Cruz run risky. He can no longer claim to be an outsider, and many remember how he mixed it up with Trump in 2016 and didn't come out the better for it. Still, Cruz has national name recognition, deep donor relations, and a clear lane in foreign policy. If foreign policy, Israel, and anti-Semitism become defining issues in the primary, hashtag Israel and anti-Semitism will not be the main issues in the Republican primary, right? It'll be immigration and the economy. His confrontation with Carlson has exposed a fault line inside the GOP. The problem is Vance. Early polling favors him. Trump is non-committal, and Cruz still looks like a creepazoid on TV. Even some Republicans openly admit that they dislike him. I mean, no one in the Senate likes him. They all hate him. Everyone hates him. Yeah. Even he hates him, probably. You know?
I feel like his family even hates him. Nobody likes. Look,
his cat hates him. Everyone hates him.
That was a joke when I bumped into him a few years back at the Congressional Correspondents' Dinner, and he was. I literally found him standing at like near the back of the room in a corner by himself. Everybody at the table abandoned him, and he was literally by himself. And I was joking with my friends. I was going, look at Ted Cruz. He's over there by himself like a big old fucking dork. Like
all by his lonesome.
Literally. And when I went over there, that was my joke. I opened with like a zinger. And I was like, so I see you're not the most popular boy at the dance.
I can't believe you said that. That's fantastic.
And his face, he looked like a dejected 17-year-old boy when I said that, right?
Yeah.
He looked totally dejected.
When the jackboot fits, wear it, you know?
It was true. And then I laughed and then I smiled and I said, I'm just kidding. Just kidding, Senator. I was like, nice to meet you. Yeah, I know. I was like, nice to meet you, whatever. Let's take a picture. Come on. You look nice in your tux. Let's take a picture. I was just very cordial and because I saw the face. I expected him to come back with a zinger to me, right?
Sure.
But he didn't. Instead, he looked dejected and like a 17-year-old boy that got left at the prom. So ridiculous. I felt bad. I instantly felt bad. And I was like, oh, I'm just kidding, Senator. You look lovely in your tux. Like, let's take a picture.
You're delicious.
I felt bad for him. I literally felt bad. There are going to be people like me that are going to feel bad for him because he...
Not a lot.
Pity vote.
Many.
Yeah, I know. Not a lot. But I'm not going to vote for him. But I mean...
Yeah, I mean,
I'm going to get Robbie in on
like
this.
Mr. Israel cuck. And not to mention, he let Trump like smear his own father and basically like he killed JFK. Can you imagine?
I know. He's a cuck of all cucks. And I don't know what to say. I think he's missing. Robbie knows more about the creatures from the right than either of us. Mm-hmm. I say Ted Cruz, me and
also,
Ted.
They're going to have Cruz, the big issue here is facial hair. Vance and Cruz are going to have a hair off. Now
they both have bad facial hair.
Vance is the werewolf. We know this. I mean,
and he has mascara.
Yeah, that's true too.
You guys are going to say something about his eyeliner look.
He does have eyeliner. That is a fact. And then, but Ted Cruz is more like, I'm trying to figure it out. It's like more like a bear. Now, if you said, "Oh, Ted Cruz was coming out of like a gay bear bar," I'd be like, "I see that." I get that.
I feel like he has the Grandpa Munster look. I feel like he looks like young Grandpa Munster sans the makeup. Like the nose, the.
Oh, is that the Addams
He
family?
Looks like Grandpa Munster. I feel like
the Munsters. Yeah.
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Yep. Robbie, you're from the right. These are your people.
These are your people. Enjoy.
What is happening over there? So why are they even like? Okay, we know he's beefing with Tucker Carlson, and now he's beefing with Vance. Then you had not Vance. You had Charlie Kirk's wife, his widow, on the stage talking about like TPUSA backing Vance already. We're like, we're not even done with the first year of Trump, and you all are talking about electing JD Vance in 2028. What's happening over there on the right?
Well, it's a war of ideology is what it is. We kind of touched on this on Deprogrammed earlier. So basically inside the Republican Party, it's an ideological rift. You have the neocon, old school country club Republican types, the Israel instead, building empire and just it's pro status quo. And then you have the populist right. So for that, you got Tucker Carlson. He's definitely the banner holder for that particular part of it.
See, he the voice of that.
Oh, very much so. Very much group. So. Well, For the more thoughtful part, yes. Then you have Nick Fuentes, who wasn't invited to this specific, who is he wasn't invited to this particular party, but they broadly align. And you have the Steve Bannon, and you have the Candace Owens. And so what people on my side of the aisle want, they want to have an honest conversation. And what that honest conversation involves around is how much control does Israel have over American political discourse, the economic well-being of the country, and what does it actually, and an actual reform of the government. So and so the way that the old guard Republicans are trying to combat this is that they're doing the same thing that the Israel lobby does, which is they conflate anti-Semitism with anti-Israel or anti-Israel criticism. So whenever they talk about Israel, they always say the Jewish state of Israel.
Yeah.
And they do that. So if you criticize the country, then what they do is they say, well, then you are attacking Jews. You're a bad person. You're a Nazi. You need to be shut down. You need to be silenced. And so that's why Ben Shapiro sounds like Barry Weiss. If you listen to them, they both say the same thing. If you criticize what we stand for, we will silence you. We will crush you. We will break you. And then you have people on Tucker Carlson's side who are like, no, actually, you don't get to shut us up anymore because we have this thing called the internet. We don't need you anymore. And so the fight is for the hearts and minds specifically of Generation Zoomer.
Right.
It's disease. Mm-hmm. And so the questions that Tucker Carlson brings up is, why is it that you can't get married? Why can't you buy a house? Why is it that we have homeless veterans living under every bridge? We have 100,000 Americans dying, give or take, every year of drug overdoses and suicides. But the only thing that anyone in DC talks about is Israel, the need to defend Israel. This country that has a lower debt per capita than we have, that has a higher standard of living, that has universal health care, that has free education, but yet you just sit down, shut up because we have to support them. And the question that people on the right like me are asking is, why exactly do we need to do this? And then Jeffrey Epstein is the perfect symbol of this. He being Trump, ran with the promise of releasing the Epstein files. He ran on the promise of draining the swamp. He ran on the promise of making America great again and putting America first. That was Trump's promise in his first term. People like me have never forgotten that. Now we understand Trump has betrayed us, but the idea is still there. And so that's the ideological shift. That's the break. And the corporate Republicans don't know how to handle this. That's why they're swinging. That's why they're.
I'm not sure that Vance is that guy either, though. I'm not sure if Vance is the guy to take the mantle. It's certainly not Cruz.
No, he's not.
So,
no, 100% he's not. I mean,
so listen, I don't know who they have.
They don't have anybody. That's a big part of the problem. That's what this is. Now, I cannot say this. I don't know it for sure, but I'm willing to bet you. I don't know if Tucker Carlson would do this, but if Tucker Carlson, if he announced that he was going to run for president, he could win. And I mean that because he would attract enough of the populist left and enough people from the populist right and talk about something that would be apocalyptic
really
on the American. Oh, God,
if
yes.
Tucker decided today, like, he's like, you know what? I'm just going to go for it in 28. Yeah, but then who's gonna fund everything for him because he's not playing ball with all the big donors. Like, he rails on them. I don't think anyone's gonna fund him. I mean, Trump was able to do that but he's not a journalist. Tucker Carlson is.
Tucker Carlson's not a journalist anymore. Now he's a symbol. That's a big difference.
Fair.
And I mean, he is more popular now than he ever was on Fox News, and his popularity is soaring with people who self-identify as Democrats. People on the left are listening to him.
But I think the thing is, they're starting to listen to him, Robbie,
right.
I would say.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think the problem
you have 3 years.
Most people on the left, most Democrats who might be open, to what he has to say, they don't. They just sort of like Tucker Carlson. He's the guy who used to wear the bow tie. He used to be on Fox. He's a right winger at the end. And I think
you got the Jimmy Dore types.
Most people put him in that box. Yeah, like most lefties don't even know who Jimmy Dore is. You know what I mean? Like it's like that.
But you got to remember, though, I'm not talking about your card-carrying Democratic card holder. I mean, the only thing they care about is the rainbow flag, abortion, and hating Trump. That's
but you're talking about winning a campaign for the presidency. I mean, that's
correct. But who is the greater mass as far as voters go? Is it going to be people who identify as leftists who are pro-labor, or people who care about trannies and bathrooms? If you Tucker Carlson, for example, he's talking about the need to get wages up. Like he brought a monologue last week. He was talking about
that's true.
Why is it that young people are having to buy pizzas on credit because they can't get jobs that will actually let them buy groceries?
No, that's true.
Again, this is like
there's some crazy lefty things.
I agree with those things, but I mean, I just don't know if you're talking about can you get like enough left-wing populists to support him to get there? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question.
Well, also
I suspect not yet, because the problem is that the media is so siloed that most people don't hear anything that is branded on the other side. Right.
Well, also one thing I would just want to point out too is that would be if he ran. I don't think he will.
Right.
I think that.
Well, you got Massey. He can get behind Thomas Massey, I would say.
Sure. But would Massey run for president? I don't think so.
I don't know.
So that's the problem. Is that
the right is rudderless. Democrats are rudderless. I don't know. I mean, you got Mayor Pete in there on the Democrat side. You have Gavin Newsom, greasing up his hair, getting ready to come out. It's really those two.
I think that what would happen is that this is a fight for the identity of the party, not the presidency. I mean, let's be honest. The Republicans are going to get crushed in the midterms next year. And the big part of the reason why they're going to get crushed is because Trump ran on a populist message, and then he turned right around and he betrayed the people that he ran that he ran to.
Yeah, and so in a two-party system, to send a message, angry voters will just
stay home,
either sit on their hands or vote, cast a spite vote for the Democrat. Yeah.
No, but as far
we've seen this game, but we've seen this show before. Yeah.
Final thoughts, Robbie.
But as far as what happened with TPUSA, I think what it is that you're seeing is that one faction of the Republican Party is pro-censorship. That they you have Ben Shapiro and he sounds just like Barry Weiss, who's universally hated by anybody who's got a brain.
By any party.
And then you have other people who are like me, who are saying we are running on actual ideas. We want lower debt. We want a higher standard of living. We want jobs to come back. We want to put America first. And that's what the fight's going to be. I think this election, if JD Vance wins, the beat goes on. If Mayor Booty Boy Buttigieg wins, the beat will go on too. Nothing's going to change.
Yeah.
This is about taking over. This is about taking over the Republican Party, and totally reinventing it.
The message,
not the election.
Yeah. All right, we'll leave that there. Thanks, Robbie. I mean, Robbie knows those are the people he talks to. He's a church-going right winger, but he's populist. So I mean, I feel like he knows more about that environment than either me or Ted. All right, let's move on to the next topic. All right, this one, I was talking about food in the Rumble chat. Ted, you were talking about coffee. I'm going to talk about food. So us talking shit on AI about how it's not ready for prime time. Here's another thing. So recipe writers may be cooked. Wah, wah, wah. As The Guardian reports, AI chatbots are constantly stealing bits and pieces of their culinary insights and mashing them together into a statistical stew, even setting aside the question of whether the resulting recipes actually produce tasty food. The bots are biting the hand that feeds it by destroying the business model behind the content that they're stealing. Clicks that would be going to food blogs are being diverted to chatbots instead, depriving the actual recipe creators of the eyeballs and thus ad revenue that kept these bloggers afloat. Quote, there are a lot of people that are scared to even talk about what's going on because it's their livelihood, says Jim Delmage, who runs the blog and YouTube channel Sip and Feast with his wife Tara, talking to The Guardian. Matt Rodbard, the founder and editor-in-chief of the website Taste, which I use, wasn't afraid to say doomsday. Quote, for websites that depend on the advertising model, I think this is an extinction event in many ways. One of the main, one of the main offenders is Google's notoriously wonky AI overviews, which provide a summary of search results that appear above the actual link to the sites. Its notable contribution to the culinary world was infamously recommending to put glue on pizza.
Oh, wait. What kind of glue are we talking about? Super glue might be a little spicy, but, I mean, a little Elmer's never hurt anyone. Kidding,
I mean, yeah,
kidding. YouTube, kidding.
It says children. It's not toxic. Elmer's glue for kids. An Epicurean nugget of wisdom. It's sourced from a facetious Reddit account. The AI overviews have been around for 2 years now, but recipe creators say they started seeing a nosedive in traffic since Google launched its AI mode for search back in March, which it started offering full-blown AI-generated recipes. And they're disasters. Karen Tedesco, the author of the blog Family Style Food, tested the AI mode by searching for Italian meatballs with quotes, and was given synthesized recipes that include hers and 9 other sources, including a Washington Post recipe for Greek, not Italian meatballs. Too many cooks, as they say, spoil the broth. Rodbard at Taste acknowledges that food blogs weren't doing themselves any favors by barraging visitors with too many ads. That's true. Which, whatever you think of AI aggregators, they spare you the trouble of plodding through. Quote, ad tech on these recipe blogs has gotten so bad, so many pop-up windows, and so much crashing, we kind of lost as publishers, which I agree with. Maybe, he suggests, the old-fashioned cookbook may be due for a comeback. I have cookbooks too. I enjoy cooking. A lot of things I kind of get inspired by things that I see online, and then I kind of put my own twist to things. But I thought it was hilarious that, sadly, that AI people are not bothering to check the links. Like, remember we talked about this, Ted, last week, saying like me, as you and I both as journalists, I use AI every day, but I double check the links that it cites. I double check, but that's who we are as journalists, right? If you're a responsible journalist, that's what you do.
Right.
If you're cooking a recipe that AI tells you about, it might lead to, that episode on Friends where Rachel makes this weird combination of like meat pie dessert because the pages of the cookbook stuck together. And so
well, I mean,
that's kind of what's happening.
This brings up, obviously, lesson learned, right? I mean, certain AI models just smush everything together willy-nilly, and you're going to get chaos. So that's kind of good, because if it becomes less trustworthy, people might go back to the original source material. But I'm glad you brought this story up here, Manila, because just about a week or two ago, I was thinking about well, how does AI work? And it scrapes, right? It's scraping material from all over the web. And I was like, well, people logically are going to be just using the scraped material. They're not going to the original source material. Well, if nobody clicks on the original source material, the original source material will go out of business, right? Mm-hmm. And then the thing is, though, this is not like how Amazon copies other products and then sells them themselves, because at least that product still exists, albeit in a copied form. Here, what's going to happen is that in the near future, the underlying websites that have been financed by Web 2.0 and Web 3.0 are going to go under. They will fold. They will disappear. And there might not be much, if anything, for AI to scrape.
Yeah.
And then what?
So the food bloggers might be the first to go, Ted, because there's this explosion of food talk, food Instagram. Obviously, you're not a foodie if you're not taking pictures of your food on Instagram. So all these Instagram food influencers can go away, because.
And by the way, this is where, so how AI basically they just under the doctrine that it's easier to, to beg forgiveness than to get permission. They scraped all this information and then, hoped not to get sued. But basically, they didn't ask for permission. But that may be their undoing in the end, because if they had asked for permission, they could have paid for the permission, and then the source material would have continued to generate revenue. This is kind of analogous to how
you're going to
broadcast
lose these
radio
recipes.
and broadcast television has been using all the source material of original reporting from print newspapers. 90% plus of reporting in any metro area is generated by the local paper. And when the local paper goes under, well, what's the radio station and the TV station going to do to report their local news? They don't have a real newsroom, right? So
that's right.
And we are starting to find that now with news deserts in areas where newspapers have gone under or contracted. That's going to happen here, and we may end up with nothing at all.
We'll get glue pizza,
or not even glue pizza. You'll be like, "Sorry, what is pizza? I don't even know.
Oh my
I've never heard of pizza. I don't know what it is." So
weird. Just
it's the digital dark ages.
It's the weird dystopian future. All right, last story. This one I put in there because it's near and dear to Ted's heart, and he'll tell us about it.
Sony is tightening its grip on one of the most beloved brands in pop culture history, and it's paying real money to do it. The entertainment giant has agreed to buy WildBrain's 41% stake in Peanuts, the comic strip, for 630 million Canadian dollars. That's 457 in patriotic real American money, pushing Sony's total ownership to 80%. The remaining 20% stays with the survivors of Charles M. Schulz, who was, of course, the cartoonist who invented Peanuts, and preserving a direct line to the creator's legacy, sort of, even as corporate control consolidates. The new deal, announced by Sony and WildBrain, is pending regulatory approval. It probably will be approved. Peanuts Holding LLC will become a fully consolidated subsidiary of Sony, with Sony Music Japan taking the lead in day-to-day management alongside Sony Pictures, because nothing says Charlie Brown, Linus, and Lucy like Sony Music Japan. Sony has been building toward this moment since first buying into Peanuts in 2018. Now, with Peanuts under one corporate roof, Sony gains leverage across film, TV, music licensing, consumer products, digital platforms, blah, blah, blah. They say they want to expand it, not reinvent it. They say they'll preserve the tone and values of Schultz while using global infrastructure to push Peanuts into new markets and new generations. The brand already spans Apple TV Plus specials, consumer products, theme park attractions, social media, live events, et cetera, et cetera. For WildBrain, they will wipe out 100% of their debt. They can focus on other franchises like, remember Strawberry Shortcake?
Oh, yes.
For real. And Teletubbies.
No, those are scary.
Yeah, and as well as its growing digital content business, WildBrain will remain a long-term producer, distributor, licensing partner, blah, blah, blah. So I am pissed about this. So full disclosure, I was editor of acquisitions and development, the number 3 or 4, depending on how you count them, executive at United Feature Syndicate, which was the distribution company for Peanuts. And let me just tell you, I knew Sparky Schultz. In fact, I know that his nickname was Sparky. And we talked, I knew him. And one of the things that Charles Schultz wanted more than anything else in the world was for Peanuts to die with him.
Really?
He thought because he knew that it was the most popular comic strip in the world. And he thought it was very important for younger cartoonists to have access to the market and not have everything be used up by old, what we call legacy strips like Peanuts that are drawn by dead people. And so it was like, that's a huge problem in the industry, where a lot of comic strips like Dick Tracy, Hagar the Horrible, etc., they're all drawn by their creators are dead. And so basically they become product. And that's what's happened here. Schultz would totally have disapproved of this. And look, I like his widow, Jeannie. Jeannie, if you're watching, I like you, but this is not what Sparky wanted, and you know it.
Wow.
And it's like it's definitely not cool. basically as an aside from a business perspective, going back even 25 years ago, Peanuts' star was starting to fade. And most of the marketing, most of the real brand appeal was in the developing world by that point. Because the strip, newspaper comic strips are no more really in the United States. And most people don't read them at all, or they certainly don't read the newspapers that still run them. So this is really sad. It's a cash grift. And I'm sorry, the Schultz estate did not need the money. I mean, Charles Schultz was one of the richest men in the United States, and he left behind a massive fortune. So
like generational wealth already baked in.
3-4 generations, even with a coke habit.
Oh
yeah.
Wow.
Don't forget the MetLife deal alone.
Yeah, well, Knott's Berry Farm back where I'm from, like the whole Snoopy's gang, and wow, just so this is like extra on top of.
That's it.
But not what he wanted.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's an interesting. I don't know what they're going to do with it.
I'll bring this up to Scott Stantis after in a minute. We're going on. I have to go over DMZ America.
So stay tuned. I think Robbie is taking this into rating the DMZ. Yep.
Yes.
Robbie says we are. Okay, so thank you guys for tuning in on this short week for Christmas. So we'll be back tomorrow, Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Stay tuned for Tuesday DMZ coming up live. Adios, amigos.
Bye, Manila.
Bye, y'all.